Hi everyone, my name is Evelyn Gilbert-Bair and I'm a master's student in psychology and education. And I came to this program super circuitously. I'm American, and in America we don't actually kind of commit to a course of study when we go to university. We tend to go to what's called a liberal arts program. And what that means is that you spend 4 years at university and you pick a major, kind of a concentration, at the end of your second year. And even after you do that, you still take lots of classes from other different subjects. I took lots of classes just about a really wide variety of subjects. The school attempts to have you develop kind of a specialty in one subject, a little bit of depth, not nearly as much as you're going to get in the UK, but some depth in one subject matter. But then they also want you to study lots of different subjects because they want to develop certain skills. When I went to college, I really wanted to study psychology right off the get-go. At the time when I was entering college, psychology was not really that well respected by hard scientists. I felt like I really, really wanted to study psychology, but I didn't feel that I could. And I took a couple psychology classes wherever I could, but I kind of, when I was graduating, thought, oh, it's not serious enough. I need to be serious. So I went to law school and it was like super miserable, but I was like, ooh, I'm serious. And sometimes it felt really good because I was like, oh, look at how, like strong my thoughts are. My writing is so crisp and blah, 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 blah. And I went on from there to work for kind of this fancy New York law firm. And I lived, I worked in a skyscraper and I wore fancy suits and went out to fancy lunches. And I was like, oh, look at me, I'm so fancy. And I think other people probably would have looked at me and thought, wow, she's got it all. But the reality was, day to day, it was so miserable. I cannot even tell you how painful it was for me to get through a day. And after 2 years, I gave it up. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I thought, okay, I'm going to become a psychiatrist, because at least that's kind of like a doctor version of psychology. And so, I don't know, I just kind of, I went into marketing at IBM, which was really, I enjoyed that. It was fun, but I knew it wasn't exactly right. I worked for a nonprofit doing kind of charitable development, and that was fun, but not exactly right. I started taking pre-med classes. I started to write a novel. I was just kind of all over the map. I got married and I had babies, and then my whole journey just kind of paused. My life took a really cool turn because my husband worked in compliance for banking and they relocated us to Hong Kong. And then we went to Tokyo, and then we went to London, and that was just really exciting. And I was raising my kids, and I had a lot of personal satisfaction. But, my true nature started to rise up a bit. So finally, like so long after, decades after I knew I just wanted so much to do psychology, I just started signing up for psychology classes. I couldn't find a program to join. Like I was a little nervous about that. I wasn't sure I could just like apply and get a degree and become a psychologist. So I just took some classes online in psychology. After that, that built a little confidence. And so then I applied to King's College London, and they had an online degree on psychology and neuroscience and mental health. That'll give you a little bit of a clue. I wasn't 100% still doing what I wanted to do. But when I graduated, by that time we'd moved to London, and I wasn't going to be able to do anything with it that I wanted to do, because to work as a psychologist or associate psychologist in London, you need an undergraduate degree. I was like, okay, gotta look for conversion courses. I'm gonna look for a conversion course, and I found the one at Cambridge, and it was in psychology and education. And as I started to look through the syllabus, it was like this weird feeling where I was reading this stuff and it's like seeing myself, like my heart was just full looking at the courses and the ideas and the questions they were dealing with. And I remember reading this stuff and being like, Ben, like that's my husband. I was like, Ben, am I an educational psychologist? And he was like, Evelyn, didn't you already know that? And I was like, I everybody knows this but me. And apparently they did. So I went to Cambridge. Luckily, at the same time, I got a part-time job. So I was doing the Cambridge Masters part-time, and I was doing my job at my daughter's school part-time. And that they hired me to help kids who were applying to the US for university. It turned out to be so perfect for me because when you apply to US, it's not just about grades. Because of this whole liberal arts ethos, you have to answer questions in your application like, who am I? And what do I want to do or explore and why? So these are all the questions that I love and that I've been kind of thinking about my whole life with other people. I started doing some of this together with the work I'm doing at Cambridge. And now I've really been focusing my master's on these kinds of issues about more for students in their education, how they kind of use their education to propel lives that are full of purpose and meaning and that are really taking advantage of the skills that they have and the contributions they have to offer to society. So that's kind of where I am now. And it was a really long and circuitous route. And my hope for you is that you kind of get to where I finally got without having to, spend so many decades. But at the same time, I really don't regret it. And that's one thing I really learned from this is that your life may not be a direct route because you're going to make mistakes. You're going to make choices that are maybe not the best choices. And you're going to grow and you're going to change a lot. And one thing that I really do value in every single experience I had, law school, being a lawyer, being in marketing, being in development, being a mom, all those things, I just learned so much. So wherever you find yourself when you feel lost, I really recommend you ask yourself, okay, this might not be the perfect thing for me, but what can I learn from this? Like, what can I take from this? The final thing I'll say is think about your values. So think about what you really care about, what your values are. Think about the ways that you like to work in groups by yourself. And if you think about these things, try to figure out who out in the world is already doing these things in the ways that you want to do. And even maybe better, about the things that you're interested in. As you're looking for your education, the important thing is, instead of thinking of it as an achievement just to get, like to win that game and to like get it, you can think about your education as something that is a resource, as an asset that is in service of you and your goals and your dreams and aspirations. And if this is helpful at all, I'll just be so glad. And I'm just really excited. You guys are young, you have brains, you have future, and I just really wish you the best in life. And anyway, best of luck to all of you. Bye.